23 years of wedlock, and my spouse kissed another man in the restaurant's parking lot during our anniversary celebration. I observed it through the window. Moments later, a middle-aged man at an adjacent table got up, approached me, and divulged about her boss's secret. The second time she left, I sensed it. I can't explain how I knew. I simply did. During her first departure, 15 minutes earlier, she had reassured me with a squeeze of my hand, insisting it was work-related, a problem with reservations. I trusted her. The second time, she didn't even touch my hand. Instead, she silently placed the phone on the table and headed for the exit without glancing back. I rotated in my seat. The hostess stand was nearby, offering a view of both the interior and the parking lot. By the time I turned, she had already crossed the lot. She stopped next to a black SUV near the rear. The driver's window descended, and a man's arm emerged. Drawing near, they both moved away from each other before sealing their lips in a seasoned kiss. Not a novice's hesitation nor a careful lover's caution, but the familiarity that comes with long-standing practice. This wasn't the surprising aspect. It was the way she executed it that left me stunned. Not the kiss itself, but her execution of it. I rose to my feet. My chair screeched as it moved behind me. I had no strategy in mind. I planned on striding forward, speaking their names aloud for all, the valet and anyone else within earshot, to hear. A man at an adjacent table stood up at the same moment I did. He seemed about 60 years old. Without asking, he stepped between me and the exit and whispered his name, Graham Alstead. He is the hotel owner where she works, he added. I already knew this because he had pulled a similar stunt 3 years prior with my wife. In 2 minutes, you must decide whether to carry out your actions in the parking lot or here. I glanced at him, then passed him toward the window. Dylan was still outside. He suggested I remain seated for a minute before acting as I wished. I remained seated, unsure of why I did so. Perhaps it was due to the unwavering steadiness of his tone. Maybe it was because the name sounded so matter-of-fact, Graham, a figure I had spoken about for 6 years as casually as discussing a piece of furniture. He occupied Dylan's seat opposite me. He didn't bother removing his coat. "Time and Bell," he said. "I knew of 4 women who came before you in that role. Every 2 to 3 years, he selects an assistant manager. His method remains the same each time. When asked to leave his wife, he stops responding. Then he hires the next one. My wife was the 3rd. I inquired about how he knew tonight was tonight. He replied, I didn't. An old friend tipped him off at a Tens bar in the Hawthorne. They saw your wife with Graham a week ago after closing. He recognized her. He contacted me on Tuesday. Since then, I've dined here every night. He produced a business card from his jacket and scribbled a phone number on its reverse. Sarah Minter, he said. Tucson, number 4, she'll speak. The other 3 won't. Call her Monday morning and you'll learn all you require to know. He left it up to me. He rose, fastened his coat, added one more comment. Don't act tonight, do it when it's cold instead. It hurts him more then. He departed via the side exit before I could express gratitude or ask further questions. I remained seated, clutching the card, observing as Dylan approached from the parking lot. She was adjusting her hair with one hand and returning her phone to her purse with the other. Taking a seat opposite me, she picked up her wine glass for a sip, flashed me her private smile, a sight familiar over 23 years. My apologies, she said. The wedding party was indecisive tomorrow. They kept changing their minds. I scrutinized her. For the first time, it felt like I was seeing a stranger after an indeterminate period. I summoned the waiter, requested the bill. She seemed surprised. We didn't have dessert, she pointed out. I'm weary, I replied. I drove her home, where she chattered about the non-existent wedding party throughout the journey. I emitted the same sounds as you. My hands were firm on the steering wheel and the card was securely tucked in my shirt pocket against my chest. In the driveway, I informed her that I had a flight at 6. Atlanta, concerning a client matter, had popped up that afternoon. She remained unfazed. She'd ceased monitoring my timetable long ago, and now I understood why. I told her I would retreat to the guest room to avoid disturbing her at 4 in the morning. Sleep eluded me. Following approximately an hour, I arose and assembled a bag in the darkness. The hallway was silent when I ventured down to the kitchen at 3 in the morning. Her purse lay on the counter where she'd left it. I retrieved her phone. A message from Graham dated 14 months back appeared on the screen. I scrolled through, watching the dates flash by like numbers on a slot machine. Anniversaries, birthdays, Christmas Eve, the night her mother was hospitalized. Each of those days had a message from him attached to them. The phone was replaced exactly where it had been. I departed at 4. 1 hour north, I stayed at a motel along the highway, anticipating Monday. No phone calls, no dark solitude. Work was my only companion. Laptop on the table, phone on the bed, wrapping up 2 deals by the week's end and almost losing a third. The diner opposite provided all meals, scrambled eggs for breakfast, meatloaf for dinner. Cold affected him more. As the man had stated, Monday at 9 a.m. I phoned Sarah Minter. She answered on the second ring as if she had been expecting it. Her voice was weary, similar to how people sound when they've rehearsed this conversation numerous times in their minds. Timon informed me, she said. Ask me whatever you need. I inquired about the duration. 8 months, she replied. I asked about the conclusion. She explained that she had requested him to leave his wife, and the following day he wouldn't answer her calls, and the next day her access card to the back office stopped functioning. She left with her purse and never returned. Then she shared facts I was already aware of. The fragrance Dylan had on her dresser were 2 bottles of La Labo, Santal 33, housed in a cream-colored box. I assumed she'd purchased them. In Charlottesville, every 6 weeks, he maintained a 1-bedroom apartment. This year alone, Dylan had attended 4 conferences there. On Thursdays, he often didn't return home until after 11, which had been the case for nearly a year. She had told me about her marriage being over, save for the final paperwork 4 months prior when I asked why she felt distant. I thank Sarah, she said. When I inquired further, she mentioned she had already put it in writing if needed. 3 years ago, she added. It's in a file. You want it, it's yours. I provided my email, and 20 minutes later, she sent me the document. By noon, I was confronting a lawyer my brother had utilized during his divorce proceedings. By Tuesday morning, he had filed the petition while I was en route home. Tuesday at 6, I arrived home. At the kitchen counter in her robe, she poured coffee. Upon hearing the door open, her expression swiftly shifted from surprise to a softer emotion. You're back early, she remarked as the bag near the door fell. From my jacket, I extracted a sheet of paper and placed it on the granite counter between us. It listed names, cities, and dates next to each, with Sarah Minter's number emblazoned atop in block letters, a printout from the motel the previous night. Her eyes scanned it, yet she did not pick it up. Instead, her grip tightened around the coffee pot handle. Wheeze, I stated, you're not the first, to which she responded. You're the 5th I know about. She was 8 months pregnant. He had ceased responding to her calls when she asked him to leave his wife, much like the 3 women before her. She set down the coffee pot and her mouth opened. It's not like that, she explained. He's leaving her, he told me. She instructed them all, contact Sarah, please, Wheeze. She mentioned this as she initiated. This morning a petition was submitted. I stated, documents will be delivered to your door by the end of the week. The house is under my ownership. Bank accounts are now frozen. You can retain whatever is in your purse. She uttered my name once more, but I remained unmoving. I drove to the office, spent 2 hours at my desk replying to emails as if it were any regular Tuesday. Her sister contacted me on the cell phone around 11, which I allowed to reach voicemail. Dylan also rang from her phone around noon, and I let that call go through too. At 1 o'clock, I reached out to Timon. I require your assistance, I said. He responded with a brief pause. Caitlin is his wife. He added, she's located at Riley Marsh downtown on the 20th floor. She will meet you either Wednesday or Thursday. Do not bring a lawyer, do not involve me, but bring the document instead. I questioned him about why he was assisting me. He clarified, I'm not aiding you, I'm helping her. 3 years ago, someone had the chance to help my wife but failed to do so. Now I'm merely a man seated in a restaurant. He ended the call. In the afternoon, Dylan visited my workplace. The receptionist notified me and I instructed her to let Dylan enter. She wore her coat, stood there with red eyes. It wasn't the polite type of crying. I spoke to Sarah, she said. Yes, I know, I replied. You can't fathom what it was like. Dylan, I told him, wait until she looks at me. Don't share what he said. Go home, gather your belongings, be gone by Friday. She left. On Wednesday at 3 p.m., I rode the elevator up 20 floors of a downtown glass building, and a young woman in a dark suit accompanied me to a corner office. Caitlin was already standing when I entered. Younger than expected, she still wore her wedding ring. Her expression did not invite a smile, nor did she pretend to. Timon informed me about the situation, she said. Please take a seat. I sat down and placed the document on her desk. The same 4 names were there, along with the same number at the top. Yesterday, I told him what I'd say to Bob Dylan. Your spouse is with my wife, I declared. The names above hers are the 5 women prior to her, spanning over 15 years. At the top is Sarah Minter in Tucson. She has a 3-year-old statement ready to send if you ask for it tonight. Caitlin glanced at the paper. Her hand remained steady, but her jaw didn't. 15 years, she mused without questioning. That's what I've been told, I replied. After a long moment, she turned her gaze from the window. When she looked back, her eyes were dry and clear. May I ask you something? She inquired. Of course, I responded. "Why did you approach me?" she asked. I pondered for a moment. "Because he won't stop," I stated. "And my wife wasn't the first one he deceived about you." She nodded once. She dialed her phone. "Thank you for coming," she said. I had already reached the elevator by the time her assistant approached to validate the parking. By Friday, Caitlin had submitted her resignation. News swiftly circulated through the Chamber of Commerce, as such information often does, quietly, rapidly, and among the wives initially. By Wednesday, her firm had lost 3 of the Hawthorns' major corporate clients, accounts she had personally secured upon marrying him. Dylan departed on Friday, as advised. He went to his sister's place in Greensboro. Caitlin left behind a note on the counter that I didn't read. Instead, I stored it away in a drawer. 2 weeks later, my attorney contacted me. Dylan wouldn't contest the divorce. All the paperwork was signed, relinquishing the house, the accounts, and the retirement fund, all now mine. My lawyer remarked he had seldom seen such a swift and clean surrender. Caitlin's lawyer had suggested she could have contested for more if she wanted, but the house, the retirement, everything was on the negotiating table for a fair split. She opted to cease fighting, signing whatever was presented to her, and returned to her sister's place once again. For 30 years, my attorney hadn't encountered a cleaner case. I told him I knew the reason. A month later, I received an anonymous letter. Its content was scribbled on expensive cream paper. "If you hadn't intervened, he would have had another year of me. I won't forget it." "Okay." I read it twice. I stored it with Dylan's note. Then I removed Dylan's note and discarded it. The cream paper I kept. Around the same time, Tom and I phoned to express our gratitude. He terminated the conversation shortly after. He instructed me to offer a similar favor if an opportunity arises in the future and not to contact him about this matter again. I honored his wishes. I haven't contacted him since. 5 months later, on a Saturday morning, while en route to my office to wrap up a project, I chose my regular route instead of the detour. That day, I decided to take the direct path. The inn on Hawthorne was still the same charming old brick structure. A fresh banner stretched across the gate, "For sale. Commercial property." A realtor's name was displayed in bold red letters. The parking lot was nearly deserted. Graham was stationed at the side entrance, wearing the same dark coat from the previous night visible through the restaurant window, but thinner and with longer hair. He was engaged in conversation with a man holding a clipboard, gesturing emphatically as if arguing about an unfair number. Without conscious thought, I steered into the lot and parked 2 spaces away from him. Upon closing the door, he noticed me. His facial expression changed thrice within 2 seconds, suggesting recognition, presumably due to Caitlin or Dylan having shown him my photo. Despite never meeting, he recognized me. I approached. The realtor took a step back. "Don't we know each other?" I inquired. "My wife was your previous assistant. My name was on the pages my wife brought home as well as the pages your wife read in her office. I came to discuss something." He remained silent. "There were 4 before mine. You won't get another one." "Your wife is aware. The bank is aware. Every client you had is aware. This is your doing." "I'm not the one." Spun around, peered back inside the car, exited at the legal speed, didn't glance back not even once. Continued my journey to the office, wrapped up the project and left it behind. Around midday, I secured the building and returned home. The house was tranquil. It had been peaceful for 5 months, and I was content with its continued silence. The kitchen got a fresh coat of paint in October. New floor tiles were laid in the foyer in November. My master bedroom was back to being just mine from the first week she departed, and the second pillow vanished after the second week. In the afternoon, I phoned my brother about the fishing trip he's been suggesting since spring. He chuckled and said it was high time. We scheduled it for the upcoming weekend. 3 days on a lake in Tennessee, his cabin, his boat, his beverages. I disconnected. I stood still in the kitchen, surveying the room for about a minute. 8 months ago, I grabbed my keys and headed to the hardware store to fix the wonky back gate that had bothered me for a month. Finally, I found time that afternoon. Since then, Dylan's been living with her sister in Greensboro and apparently works at a downtown real estate office. Graham moved with his mother in High Point following the hotel sale. Caitlin recently remarried, her husband being a partner at her firm. I haven't contacted Timon. The house is now mine. That sums up the story. Thanks for your likes. Subscribe for more unshared tales to come.